H would kick off this week's NXT Homecoming because of course he did, coming out thanking everyone from the talent to the crew to the fans who made NXT a hit. Shawn Michaels would then come out and say that he's ready with his roster to take NXT to the next level, and Triple H said, what if I want to come back? And this is where it got interesting, because William Regal would emerge and say we can settle this with War Games. Now, they didn't specify when that War Games match was going to happen, but I'm telling you now, at this point, it's got to, right? We heard it on WWE TV out of the mouth of William Regal. That is a legal binding contract, in my opinion. Charlotte and Alexa would then emerge, and I was not expecting this. Charlotte coming out, of course, saying the women have always run NXT, putting over big names from the women's divisions past, most notably the four horsewomen, Asuka, Paige, Ember Moon, and then Alexa Bliss would say, and if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. She literally stole DX's line, and it was brilliant as she told everyone to suck it. I have to mention as well, the video package at the very start of the show was absolutely incredible, showing you the champions of yesteryear and some of the biggest moments. Very interesting to see James Storm on this. James Storm was only in NXT for not that long. But of course, it's always cool to look back and go, oh my God, that was Alexa Bliss so many years ago, you know, and remember the old NXT. And I can't lie, it was awesome to see the highlights of Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family also. A unique intro tonight as well, as we again look to the past, but with the current roster, as we used Roar of the Crowd and the old NXT graphics. That was really fun to see. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair would win the first match of the night to retain the women's tag team titles, defeating Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley. You already know, I absolutely loved every single second of this. And they knew exactly what they were doing with Tatum and Alexa immediately face to face with dolls in hand. Who could out-freak the other one? It is exactly what I want to see in professional wrestling. If it's not what you want to see, I don't give a fuck. I loved Charlotte Flair doing the 10 chant to Shawn Spears, obviously the former Ty Dillinger, and that was really fun. It was during a commercial break though, so some of you may have missed that. I legit thought Tatum Paxley had Alexa Bliss beat at one point when she got her foot on the ropes, and of course the referee wasn't looking. I honestly thought Tatum was going to win it, but no. When Alexa set up for that Sister Abigail, the pop in Full Sail was huge. Great to hear. Problems tonight between Zaria and Sol Ruca following that Soul Snatcher last week. And who would have thought it? Shayna freaking Baszler is back. Maybe for just one night only. But that's perfectly fine because she did exactly what was needed to be said tonight. She told Zaruka, put it together and you'll get everything that you want. Also worth mentioning in this segment was Lainey Reed and Candice LeRae as they set up for their speed match next week. Old theme songs tonight for Tommaso Ciampa coming out with a very cool look. Mattel, I need a figure of that. And Johnny Gargano with Rebel Heart. My God, can we please get those theme songs on the main roster ASAP? They would do battle tonight with the reunited Trick Mello gang as Carmelo Hayes returns to NXT to reform the tag team with Trick Williams. There was some problems tonight, let's not lie, but they pulled through and Carmelo Hayes would end up pinning Johnny Gargano with help from The Miz. I love the detail, by the way, that the door in the background was open. Once again, though, Miz making this all about him. Look who's in the centre here. But you know what? If WWE want to utilise this in the main roster and use this as a way to call up Trick Williams eventually, I am absolutely A-OK with that. Sami Zayn was backstage tonight, reminiscing about his time in NXT, but also he put over Javon Evans massively tonight, saying to Javon, the sky is the limit. And this was a great segment to obviously continue the feud between Josh Briggs and Javon Evans. Damian Priest was also here tonight, backstage talking to Tavion Heights. He spoke to General Manager Ava, and he's actually got Tavion a match for the North American Championship at No Mercy. And we know that will be against Ethan Page. Ethan Page retaining the North American Championship tonight, defeating Tyler Breeze. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I have no idea if Tyler Breeze is interested in doing more in WWE, but honestly, I really hope he is, because the dude's barely aged a day, and he looked great in the ring tonight, so hopefully we see more Tyler Breeze in NXT or on the main roster. The Grayson Waller Effect was a show tonight on NXT. Do you know what, though? This was actually really good. The promo between Femi and Ricky Saints was absolutely perfect. Then, the unexpected interruption by the TNA champ, Trick Williams, would lead to something huge. Next week, we are going to get Trick Williams versus Femi. Title versus title. 2 belts on the line. 1 belt has to change hands. Unless there are some shenanigans, and there's gonna be shenanigans, isn't there? That match was made official a little bit later on, and you gotta think, with all the talk on tonight's show and on social media of the TNA talent tweeting their displeasure, are we gonna get a TNA invasion next week? My God, that would be huge. I would love to see a full-blown NXT versus TNA. Love it. We did get the reunion tonight between Lyra and Tatum. Love to see that, although the culling wasn't very impressed by it. Bobby Roode is still absolutely glorious, as he made a cameo on NXT tonight alongside Joe Hendry, who he really put over, saying, it was great to see you with the TNA title at WrestleMania. Now you're here. You need to focus on the NXT Championship. Worth noting as well, as No Quarter Catch Crew is falling apart, Charlie Dempsey is going to take a month off. Charlie Dempsey is going to go to Japan for 1 month. In his absence, he is going to leave Ren Sinclair in charge, but in charge of what? They don't have anyone else in their group anymore. The surprises just kept coming, as Finn Balor would return to NXT confronting Lexus King. And yes, he had his old theme song, The Prince, was on NXT tonight. We got to see Finn Balor hit a coup de grace onto Lexus King and stand tall with Miles Bourne. A great moment for Miles, undoubtedly. Montez Ford was backstage tonight talking to Dark State. Now, this was interesting. No Angelo Dawkins. And you know what? There's all this talk about a member of the Street Profits turning heel. Do you know what? I would actually like to see Montez Ford turn heel and be the leader of Dark State. Could you imagine that? FYI, I actually don't think it's going to happen, but do you know what? I think there could be some fun chemistry there. Lola Vice would stop JC Jane from running away from the big 6-woman tag main event tonight. And yes, JC would be beat and pinned by Rhea Ripley. Whatever you think of tonight's show, just be assured it is guaranteed that Booker T absolutely loved it, as both Stephanie Vaquer and Rhea Ripley would hit the devil's kiss tonight. Beautiful. I did expect a little bit more from the Bianca Belair appearance other than just sitting ringside, but it is what it is. You know WWE's going to try and save that for the main roster. You know they are. Now, I looked on my Discord server during the show and I saw a lot of people saying, WWE should move NXT permanently to Full Sail. This is awesome. The problem is, it wouldn't be this every single week. But I do agree, we definitely shouldn't be waiting another 2,000 plus days to come back to Full Sail University. Tonight was very, very cool. In fact, I'd go as far as to say it was very, very special. And I do think WWE should consider making NXT Homecoming a yearly annual event. Not a PLE, a once-a-year NXT show where we do go back to Full Sail, where names from NXT's past and main roster superstars do return to the company. I think that could be really, really fun. And if we do actually do that, can we please make Homecoming a 3-hour show? Because this was so much fun. I'm going to do something I very rarely do. Tonight's NXT was 11 out of 10. I don't think I've ever given that score before, ever. It was just perfect. I loved every minute of it, every segment of it. Absolutely brilliant. Loved it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Like the video, share the video. Peace.